Well, I am excited today to have Shea with us as our guest. He is the CEO and founder of ViB. Sean, it's so nice to have you today. And we just want to start off with just a brief summary. Tell us about what is ViB? What is the company?
Great. Hi, Joy. Great to be here. ViB stands for Virtual Intelligence Briefing, and we are a demand generation company. We help sales and marketing leaders generate quality leads.
So going back, I know the way it started was it was actually a side project, and that's hard to imagine seeing the size and magnitude of what you do now. Tell us a little bit about where that idea came from and what was the journey during that time, you know, probably still having a full-time job and then creating and building this on the side.
Well, my very first job out of college with a degree in meteorology, which is a weatherman, was in technology sales. And one of the things that I noticed right off the bat by being a salesperson is we always wanted more leads and better quality leads. So about 5 years after that, I started ViB as a online magazine where I would generate leads, and I would do this on the side. I did that for about 10 years.
Okay, so tell me this. Now being at the top of the company, you know, this being your company, how do you think having that IT sales background to begin with contributes to being a better leader?
Yeah. Well, I think being a professional salesperson has helped me in the journey to becoming, you know, CEO, which means like always staying in the game, never giving up. There's going to be ups and downs. You know, as a salesperson, you have to have fairly thick skin. Let's say that because, you know, there is rejections and no's as part of the process. And, you know, one of the items that I learned early on in sales and take that with me here as CEO of the company is trying to focus on the relationship first versus the sale itself, because by developing a good relationship with the other person, you know, earning their trust, getting to know who they're about or, you know, what they'd like to achieve. If I focus on that and not the short-term goal, good things will happen in the long run.
Absolutely, Sean. It's all about relationships. And I think being in sales is, you know, the foundation of teaching and learning and experiencing that. That's such a good point. So moving forward, okay, these numbers are mind-blowing. We're in, you know, 10 million IT decision makers that you guys work with. How do you break down, segment that down to meet each individual client's needs?
Well, we're fortunate enough to have some really great technology. Years ago, we invested in having the best data providers give us access to data. And then we've invested over the years, of course, in the best cloud services and having really good people on our team. And it really comes down to having the best people because, you know, as you know, you can have the best products, the best technology, but if you don't have the best people to put the glue together to make everything work with the customer in mind, then things go off track.
Absolutely. So looking back over the course of time, or maybe even recently, you know, what's a big success story that kind of sticks out in your mind or that you'd like to share with us today that gives an example of what you've built here?
Yeah, well, one thing comes to mind is, you know, a couple of like quick personal stories and then just a customer success story is a couple of weeks ago, one of our customers, a cybersecurity firm, reported to us that one of our community members, you know, a relationship that we have with somebody in the cybersecurity field, purchased from them a $450,000. So basically a $500,000 cybersecurity contract, and it's a renewable subscription. So we're of course their best friends in the world, right? That was a lead that came from us. They're now receiving a $500,000 in business yearly. So that's like a proof point to the success of us having the right data and that delivering it to our customers. A couple of things I'm kind of proud of. One is being a dad. My son, who's 25 years old, wanted a start in high-tech sales. He was working in a deli in Connecticut, right? I had a job at Burger King, right, at once. So we all start in a certain place, and he wanted to move into high-tech sales. And I was a little reluctant of it, having a family member on board. But I said, we'll try out part-time, see if you're really interested. And he did the part-time work. So he showed up and he made the calls and he sent the emails out. Then we had an opening. He interviewed with the team. And I was very clear. It's like, if you do come on board, I'm not going to manage you. The VP of sales will, and you're going to be treated like everybody else. And this week I'm in Hawaii. We're having our first President's Club. And my son was the number 2 person to qualify for President's Club. So I'm very happy that, we gave him a chance, and he earned the right because he's very passionate about the business to be here. So I just love the fact that, he has a lot of energy, didn't know a thing. And one of the things I like about his story, and it's something that I always have to remind myself about, is that one of the reasons why he's very successful is that he's very humble and he's open to learning. A lot of times, somebody comes into a job, and I do this all the time. I think as humans, we're kind of designed this way, is, oh, I know already, or I know better. And a lot of times we really don't. And he came in with such a childlike or fresh approach, is like always asking questions. If he didn't know something, he would ask questions. And now he's doing very, very well. And just another quick little story is that we're very involved in giving back to the community. We have a program in South Florida working with the Homeless Coalition of South Florida. We've donated laptops and we mentor people. One of the women that was one of the first students in the program wanted to become a photographer. She had no experience with it, never took any photography courses, could not afford the camera. So she was able to learn about professional photography through our course. She had the laptop to take the course. And at the end of the 10 weeks, the students receive some gift cards as a reward. She bought herself a camera, and now she has a photography business. And at the end of last year, when we did a fundraiser for the Bucket Ministry, she was the professional photographer that we hired. So somebody that, was in a tough circumstance, without a home, with a child, now has her own photography business. And we were able to, see the fruits of that effort. So that was like a cool journey, cool story, I think.
Sean, I just have to unpack all that for just a minute. Like, so many big lessons and big rewards. And I love the way when I go to ask you some of the biggest success stories, it is about the company. But when we have success stories like that within our own life, within our own family, seeing the results of your hard work, being an influence on your son, I mean, nothing's bigger than that. And then also being able to see lives change because of investing, giving people a chance. And that's kind of my next question lead into is you do have this company culture of giving back and, wanting to take what you've been given, the successes you have, and being able to spread that around and share it. Tell me where that drive comes from, or maybe even give another example of how you're incorporating that.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I'm a person in long-term recovery, right? And part of the 12 steps is giving back. And I really do feel, lucky and blessed that, we have this great company. And so it's inspired me or prompted me to give back to others. And, we do lots of different things. We have something internally called Pay It Forward Friday, where employees can take an afternoon or a day off and get paid for doing any kind of charitable work that they'd like, right? Because I think we all know that if you get out of the hustle and bustle of always working and maybe working with somebody less fortunate, it helps us on the inside, and it's a great work-life balance thing. I think it's like a recharge when we go out and help other people. So we encourage that. We do the program with the Homeless Coalition that I just mentioned. And we also have this big initiative with the Bucket Ministry. And last year we had a clean water pledge where we took 1.5% of all sales and were in a position to donate it to the bucket ministry. So that resulted in close to 50,000 people in Africa that did not have clean water. They were drinking dirty water that was making them sick or dying, and now have access to clean water. And one of the side effects, I mean, we're doing these things because we have a heart for helping others, is that when we do employee surveys about, what do you think about working here? And it always comes up that people say, I really like working here, not only because it's a fun place and a great culture and we have a great product and we serve our customers, but the fact that we also, serve our community, whether it's local or around the world. People like the fact that there's also a sense of self-worth because we're doing something outside of the business. And our customers see the same thing and they say, you know what, we really like you. And, we measure you first and foremost about delivering great leads. And the fact that we see you doing all this great work makes it, doubly special to work with you.
That is so amazing. And you're right. I mean, there's nothing, I think sometimes one of the biggest struggles when it comes to mental or emotional health is because we do become self-centered. And so the minute we can redirect that self-centeredness and go serve, it's really such a big fix. And it creates gratitude, which creates gratitude for being able to work with your company, gratitude for your leadership, gratitude for everything. And grateful employees do a good job. So that's so key and so exceptional that you guys, do that and provide that opportunity for them to make it easy for them to go serve. That's amazing. Simply amazing, Sean. So let's move on. I mean, I want to hear what's a big, exciting project or something new in the horizon that's coming up for ViB.
Well, we're moving from a service industry or provider, services, to something that's more product oriented. Right? We're not going to take away the humans providing the great customer service because that's what we're known for. We have an 86% retention rate, so people enjoy the journey so much that 86% of the time they'll renew and keep on purchasing. But what we're doing right now is that we're investing in technology so that we're creating something called demand generation as a service. So all the items that we do as a service will be in a platform and it will make the whole journey, the whole buying and marketing journey to the marketing or sales professional, all a very nice user experience where they can do everything online. They can actually predict how many leads will I get, what will it cost me, and we're going to be able to do what we do now, which is hit their ideal customer profile, but it will just all be done in one seamless platform. So it's pretty exciting that the customer, at the end of the day, it's going to make it easier for them to answer those questions. What will it cost? What if I change my profile? Did this launch? What are the statistics? And everything will be in one user interface. So that's something very exciting that we're going to launch this year.
Wow, amazing. And what are some other priorities looking forward for the company as you continue to grow? Maybe some future goals, some vision that you have for the company. Is there anything, any of those that you could share with us?
Yeah, well, we keep on growing, right? Every year doubling, which is so amazing. When I first created the company as a full-time endeavor 4.5 years ago, when I sketched it out, I thought 10 million was the maximum upside, and last year we did almost 21 million. And right now we're actually investing in technology and people to have this be a $100 million company. And talking about, looking for good people, right at this time, I'm transitioning to finding a chief operating officer. So I'll be able to start to look at more strategic entrepreneurial projects and have the COO basically take over the nuts and bolts of the business to grow to 100 million, which is pretty incredible, where 4.5 years ago, it was myself and a laptop and a spreadsheet and a Gmail account and one contractor in the Philippines. And that was 4.5 million. I mean, that was 4.5 years ago. And now we're looking at a trajectory where we have $100 million business. So, anything is possible by staying in the game and, doing the right things. And the core really is, the golden rule, always trying to be in that other person's shoes, always trying to do as best we could. When I say always, right, because we are humans, is doing the right thing all the time, treating the other person, whether it's an employee or as a customer, how we want to be treated. And I think that basic philosophy is one of the reasons why these possibilities are coming to life.
Amazing. And, definitely, once again, it comes all back to relationships, right? All back to relationships. And also, I think, too, another nugget I'm going to pull out of what you just said is just staying focused on that next step ahead of you, right? Because when you first started, I mean, the thought of, 100 million was insane, right? But you just focused on the next step and then the next step. And it's just a trajectory of taking those steps as you're prepared. And that's what builds the muscle to continue to get to the point to have $100 million in a company like that. So many good points here. Thank you so much. So, in closing, if you could go back to your former self, say 5 years ago, maybe 8, 10 years ago, what would be a piece of advice that you would give that former Sean?
I think I would, get out of my own way a little faster. What I mean by that is, there are times where in anybody's journey as a business person, is you have to surround yourself with good people and to delegate. And a lot of items that were not strategic, I held on to, right? We had the right person in place, and I really should have put the reins over to this person, and I didn't do it as fast as I should have. And what I'm learning is, this kind of counterintuitive, but it's true in so many things. The more that I let go, the more that comes back, right? I don't have to be in the weeds and all these little things. Let this specialist do it. They can do it better than I can. I hired the person for something good. And one of the aspects is, looking back at this journey is that, I'm a professionally trained salesperson. I know how to sell things. I'm not a professional CEO. I didn't go to CEO school. I don't have an MBA in business. I've never done this before. So all of these things that are now happening are out of my comfort zone. And, creating strategy, being a leader, a lot of that, there's some fear into it because it's the unknown. So a lot of times we like to I like to sell things. So I don't want to do this leadership or visionary stuff because I'm a little scared. Let me make some phone calls and sell something. Well, that's nice, but it's not strategic to the business. So delegating, letting go, and then getting through the fear to do what I'm not exactly comfortable in is something that I think is good advice and something that I try to do.
Well, let's sum it up with be brave enough to be uncomfortable, because that's where the growth happens. Because you can never scale, you can never grow without such a great point here, stepping back and being brave enough to hire people better than yourself in some of these areas and then trusting them to do the job.
Yeah, and it's a great thing to remove the ego and say, you know what, this person is way better than I am at doing this. God bless them, and thank you for taking this over.
Absolutely. So, Sean, in closing, anything else you want to share, or where can people find you, reach you, get in touch with your company, utilize your services?
Yeah. So feel free to, find me on LinkedIn. Company ViB is found at vibriefing.news, and happy to help anybody with, any kind of mentorship here, whether it in terms of the business aspects of running a business, B2B technology sales. And if anybody, might be personally struggling with some type of addictive disorder, I'm not a professional, but I'm somebody with experience. And if a child or loved one, and you just like, hey, what do I do? Hit me up, and I'm happy to have a chat with you or try to point you in the right direction.
Thanks for being so authentic, Sean, and for sharing, not your struggle, your journey, but also your success. We all can see now why you've had the success that you've had, and best of luck as the company continues to grow and scale.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you.